I am always on the lookout for indie games that are inspired by Castlevania. In the past, the games that I have played that follow this mold have been a mixed bag. Most of them have been fun and challenging, but there have been others that were excessively difficult and frustrating. When I heard that there was a new kid in the town of Castlevania-inspired games, I decided to check it out and see if it falls under the bag of fun and challenging or in the bag of frustrating and excessively hard. Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy and this is my non-spoiler review for Lords of Exile for the PS4. This game was developed by Squidbit Work and published by Plug-in Digital. So what's the story of this game? Lords of Exile follows the story of Gabriel, a man who served as the henchman of a man named Gallagher. Due to how strong Gabriel was becoming, Gallagher decided to betray him and killed his betrothed. It was at that moment that Gabriel decides to avenge his beloved and kill Gallagher and end his reign. This game's story is told through pixel art cutscenes at the beginning and the end of the game and dialogue in the stages. In general, I would say that the story is minimal, but there's enough there for you to understand the motivation of the main character and the context of the game. In regards to the visuals, this game goes for an 8-bit pixel art style with some monochromatic colors for character models. Stages have more color and detail, creating a nice contrast characteristic of retro games of this genre. The stages in the game are very diverse, and the setting that the game takes place in resembles Japanese visual aesthetics. So let's talk about the music. All I can say that the music is retro, it's really good, and it has a lot of weight when you're playing. It pairs well with the gameplay and it will help you to stay engaged with the action of the game. So that takes us to the gameplay. Lords of Exile is an action platformer focused on platforming and fighting. The objective of the game is to complete all the stages and reach Gallagher at the end of the game and defeat him. The game has a total of 8 stages which you progress through in a linear fashion. Each stage has a mini-boss and a boss and take around 8 to 10 minutes to finish depending on how well you play. You can attack, jump, crouch, slide, and do a downward attack, which can be used to break certain platforms. In these stages, you find special consumable weapons which you can use as projectiles just like in Castlevania games. There's a good variety that go from swords to bombs to boomerangs. There's also a good variety of enemy types that will serve as obstacles in the stages. If you get hit, there's knockback, so you have to be careful when you're platforming. You gain currency by killing enemies or breaking boxes, and these can be used in shops you find in the stages to buy consumables, like for example healing or the projectile weapons that I mentioned earlier. The star of the stages are the bosses. These are challenging and require the player to memorize the attack pattern to be able to defeat them. After defeating a boss, you get abilities like double jump or a longer reach for your sword. These abilities have an impact on the gameplay. As you progress through the game, you will be able to do so much more than at the beginning, and that really adds to the fun. You can also acquire shadows, which are entities that accompany the main character and that can be summoned and can help you with stage traversal or fighting. In terms of performance, I have to say that the game ran smoothly throughout my entire gameplay, and the game takes around 2 to 4 hours to complete. Once you finish the game, there are other incentives to replay the game. So let's talk about the cons and the pros. I guess the only con I have of this game is the stiff controls. And I have to recognize that it's probably related to the fact that it is an 8-bit game. But at times I really did find the controls to be unresponsive, and it did bother me a bit because it made platforming sometimes uncomfortable. But it wasn't that much of a problem, to be honest. In regards to the pros, I have to point out one thing, and it's a big one: the gameplay and difficulty. I found the gameplay to be solid, fun and engaging, and the difficulty to be honestly perfection. The game gets progressively more challenging as you advance through the stages, and in the last stage and the last boss is the culmination of that progression. I felt challenged without the frustration of excessive difficulty, and at every point I was looking forward to the next fight and to the next boss fight because I was so engaged. So in conclusion, after playing through Lords of Exile, I can confidently say that it falls under the bag of the fun and challenging Castlevania-inspired games. I have to even add that the difficulty curve of this game is borderline perfect. The way the difficulty slowly increases as you progress through the game allows the player to adapt, and it bolsters the fun in the gameplay. This is definitely a game that I have to recommend without a second thought. For this reason, I recommend Lords of Exile for the PS4. So that's gonna be it for my non-spoiler review. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content.